Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely evening. I actually prefer doing videos here from my bed than having to turn on my camera, turn on the lights, turn on OBS, set up the audio, plug in my microphone, all the other upload, edit. So I honestly kind of just prefer doing quick thought videos like this just from bed. So I may do this for a while. So today what I wanted to discuss is a video that I saw on Zach's channel, Jerry Rig Everything. I got to meet him 6 years ago. He used to run a repair shop. He's a really cool, nice, kind, humble, hardworking dude. And I wish the best for him. And I love seeing his channel blow up the way that it has. He opens phones, he does durability tests, he does teardowns, and he's, pushing forward to get the next generation of people to not be afraid to open and fix their own stuff. So more power to him for helping do that. Now, he had a project he did recently. I don't, to be honest, I don't remember all the details of it because I haven't seen every video. He's taking either a Humvee or a Hummer or something and he's converting it into an electric vehicle. So he's getting rid of the diesel engine and everything in there and he's tearing it all out. He's putting Tesla batteries in there, electric motor controller, and he's doing all of this pretty much himself. He's not like just buying it as an electric vehicle. He even goes over in one video how it had issues going over a speed bump. So he is programming the torque in the motor controller. So similar to what I'm doing with an ASI BAC855 motor controller or a phase runner from Grin when I get my electric bike and I'm kind of changing and messing with the proportional and integral gains so that I can get the ride style that I want. He's pretty much doing all of that. So how does the vehicle feel? How does it perform when you hit the accelerator pedal, all that stuff? And he wants to be able to ride this on a public road because he's got it to a point where it's pretty much functional. And now, in order to do that, you have to register the vehicle and do everything properly. So he goes to the DMV to figure out what he has to do. And in this video, he goes to the DMV, I shit you not, he fills out a little bit of paperwork, basic paperwork, and he gives them $10. They don't inspect the vehicle again, in spite of the fact that he's literally ripped everything out of this car and then rebuilt it himself. Again, not a Ford technician or not a dealership or something. He's doing this himself in his own garage. And, again, I'm not trying to put the guy down at all, but like he opens phones for a living. He's not like an electric vehicle engineer. Don't get me wrong. I'm not either, but he does this on his own. And he gives the DMV $10. They don't even inspect the vehicle. They don't try to drive it around to see how it works. They don't make sure that they don't even get in the car and just go in the parking lot just to make sure that he didn't crank integral gain up to 600 or something to the point where it does a wheelie and backflips or whatever. Like, guess how I figured out that you're not supposed to have integral gain too high when I was setting my pit loop. But anyway, I wound up the first time I actually had the first date and she was on the back of the bike. And when I rev it, literally the moment I rev it, it does this and tosses us both off the bike because I had the integral gain too high. Memories. Anyway, so they don't even try it to make sure that it's drivable in any way, shape, or form. He literally gives them $10. They change it over from diesel engine to electric and on the registration, and that's that. He is now legally allowed to drive that vehicle on public roads. He is legally allowed to drive that thing 65 or 75 miles on the highway. And that's it. Why am I pointing this out? Because we used to live in that world that valued freedom and the ability to repair your own personal property over this fetishization of safety and security that's masking a desire for more control and more profit from private manufacturers. It's never been about safety. It's never been about security. If it was, we would radically change the way we deal with everything in this country, but we don't. We're only trying to change it with new things, and we do that by making these safety and these security arguments all the time, completely trying to just, Men in Black hit the little red thing, I guess. I don't know why I had Will Smith in my head for some reason. They hit the little red thing to make you forget everything. The selective amnesia that we used to live in a country where we had the ability to repair our own goods. And I used to use this analogy that you could have a 5,000-pound Ford F-350 diesel and you could be somebody who doesn't know anything about cars. You could replace the brakes in your driveway and you are totally allowed to buy the brake pads, buy the brake materials, fix it in your driveway, and then without getting it inspected, just drive on a highway at 65 miles an hour. And that's totally legal to do that with your 5,000 or 6,000 pound vehicle when you're around other people. But God forbid you unplug the battery on your Future Motion one-wheel electric scooter, that will brick itself. Even if you plug in the original battery, even if you plug in another battery from the same manufacturer, it will brick itself for your safety. Or, you shouldn't be able to replace the charge port on your phone because of your safety. You shouldn't be able to fix your own laptop because of your safety. You shouldn't be able to fix your own home appliances because of your safety. You can't open up you shouldn't, again, when you listen to the arguments that are made by the ESA, by CTA, by AHAM, by TechNet, or any one of these other lobbying organizations that winds up representing Apple and Microsoft and everybody else, they always start with the safety and the security arguments. And it should be plainly clear at this point that it was never about safety or security, that it's about profit and control. If it was about safety and security, we would take almost every single car off the road immediately. We would lower the speed limit to 15 miles an hour. We would not allow you to repair your own vehicle. If you repaired your own vehicle, something would go off inside of it to turn it off or not allow you onto a public road. If we were going by the modern standards that these companies want us to believe we should be living in. But we don't do that. And something that drives me nuts when I hear these arguments made, maybe you shouldn't be able to fix your own printer. What if it's dangerous? What if while you're doing it, you hurt your pinky? Is that we used to live in a world where it was totally acceptable to completely rip out everything inside your vehicle, completely redo it yourself in your garage. And then if you want to go on the road, you go to the DMV, you fill out a form, you pay $10, and you can do that. And honestly, the thing that I got out of that entire series that Zach did, more than anything else, again, I appreciate all the work that he did and how he showed you how everything went. The best thing I got out of that series was the video he did today, where he goes to the DMV and he demonstrates the standard that we used to have for your ability to fix your own products and the lack of restrictions on it, even when we're talking about something that weighs 6 or 10,000 pounds that goes over 65 miles an hour. I used to use the example of brakes. Somebody said I need to update that example because now it's not just brakes. Demonstrably, you could literally rip everything out of your vehicle, put an entirely new vehicle in there, program the motor controller yourself, and that's totally fine. But again, God forbid, you want to replace the screen on your own laptop, you may cut yourself on the glass, or replace your battery. That's lithium, it can explode. It's not like a 6,000-pound device carrying, 6,000 lithium cells could explode when going 65 miles an hour into a guardrail. But the one battery in your phone may explode, so we got to keep you from being able to work on that. And I hope that people understand at this point that this is one giant shit test. The idea is to figure out how much can we trick your average ordinary consumer into believing that we actually care about your security and your safety when we don't. Because it's demonstrably clear that this is not about security or safety. Future Motion has a one-wheel scooter where the positions of certain holes in certain screws are such that if you put the wrong screw in there, you can actually go through the battery. I'm going to demonstrate this to you in the next few days. They use a connector for charging that looks like it's close to the size of a MacBook inverter board wire or fan connector. And there are many examples I've shown on this channel of that burning, and you can see the connector is going brown from how much it's burning. They don't recall that device. Why? Because that would cost them money. If they cared about safety, they would design it properly in the first place, or at least recall the ones that are out. It's never been about safety. When it comes to security, Apple talks about how, all the reasons that you shouldn't be going to an independent are about security. They had a case of an employee texting themselves pictures from a customer's iPhone. Washington Post covered this. They had an issue just last year where this made it to the news, where somebody at a subcontractor uploaded sex tapes from a customer's iPhone using their own Facebook account, so it looked like the customer did it on purpose, to their own Facebook account. There's no special human. It's a different species. There's no Soviet man working at the Apple store that is just magically it's impossible for them to make a mistake. It's impossible for them to be a pervert, unlike those peons, those peasants that work in independent repair shops. It's never been about safety and security. It's been about control and profit. And all you need to do is look back 100 years ago, 80 years ago, 70 years ago, 50 years ago, even 40 years ago, to look at how we valued your personal freedom to work on your property over this fetishization of safety and security, to understand just how far we've fallen, but also to understand that what we are fighting for is not some magic utopia. It's not some magical ideal. It's literally where we used to be. It is something we used to have. It is a society that we used to live in that actually worked in some way, shape, or form. There are things back from 50 or 80 years ago that we probably shouldn't go back to. There's a lot of stuff in the past that maybe we should leave in the past. The ability to take a screwdriver and maintain your personal property so that you don't have to buy a new one is one of those things that we should try to get back. Because I don't believe that of all the things that are wrong in our past, that your ability to work on your own automobile, to work on your own devices that you have in your home, was something that was that bad. We don't do things the way we used to in this way. And I think that we are all collectively being asked to have amnesia and forget that this is how it used to be. This was the standard. And it worked. And I'm happy that Zach did the series that he did and that it ended on that note so that people can understand the way things used to be. People have this idea, and I hear this with Right to Repair as well, that even if this passes, this should only pass for people who are properly licensed and registered. And the fact that he only had to fill out one little form and pay $10 demonstrates just how little that actually means. You know, one thing I tell people all the time is with my own repair shop, I have not in the past 10 years I've had a license ever had someone from the city come in and say, Lewis, I want to check your solder joints in that QFN. Lewis, what type of flux are you using? Lewis, I want to make sure that you're not reflowing dead graphics cards. I want to see the quality of your screen repair to see if you get dust behind. They don't care about any of that. They care about getting their $350 every 2 years, so they have money. And they also have they'll come in and try to fine us for absolute random nonsense. Like, for one instance is if we are selling a laptop, they'll say, we want to see the entry in the Leads Online database. And I'll go, I did buy this, therefore I did not enter an entry of me buying it because I never bought it. And they'll say, oh, well, that's too bad. We're finding you anyway. Or they'll say, hey, you're supposed to have 3 license numbers on your business card and you only have 2. That's a $500 fine. Like, again, they look for excuses to fine you over nonsense to fund these cities' insane overbloated budget. But not once in 10 years have they ever asked, how are you routing the inverter board cable on an A1181? Is it going into the clutch cover? Let me see your solder joints. Let me just ask your customers how happy they are with repairs. They don't care. They don't ask me if I understand Ohm's law. They don't do anything to figure out if I'm qualified in any way, shape, or form to be doing my job. They literally take $350 from me every 2 years and say, have fun. And that's it. That's licensing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I will include a link to the video from Jerry Rig Everything's channel, which I suggest you watch if you're interested in watching him do an electric vehicle conversion. It's pretty cool stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.